there. Oh, hello, tarot friends. Am I live? Okay. I guess I'm live. I wasn't thinking I was live yet, but I'm live. Hello, tarot friends. This is Ultraviolet Morgan. I am going to do a flip through of the ELEMOTIONS Oracle by T.N. Bell at the Tarot Tavern. This is not a free reading. This is not readings at all. This is just a walkthrough of a deck that I've been really excited to do a walkthrough of ever since I received it. This is what the back looks like, which I really like. They're good, sturdy cards, so we can just sort of begin. Now, these are tarot cards, and they're called oracle cards, and I have looked through these, so this is not a first look. I believe they're called oracle cards because they feel like they're designed to be used intuitively. You can use them as a tarot or as a very intuitive oracle, or some ways that people would probably, some would call intuitive and others would not. That's all I'm gonna say. So this is the Fool card. And rather than standing and ready to leap, he's sitting on the ledge. So this is interesting. We've got the Flower of Life behind him. Maybe I'll just move this up here so it's not in my way. With the Flower of Life behind him. We have a constellation. There's a lot of things that are happening. We can see his shadow. We see these sheep who don't have shadows projected anywhere. And we see this interesting, the O has sort of an X or kind of a bone or bow tie type of shape inside of it. Meaning, who knows? Could be a keyhole. Could be a keyhole. It could be all sorts of things. We see this coloring is sort of sandy beige, and then his pants are kind of a similar color, but they are a little more, they're still a neutral, but they stand out. We do have a baseball cap, which I think is interesting because we do usually see the Fool wearing a hat, so it's interesting that he's wearing a cap in this one. So this is the Fool card. This card is a little smudgy. Good morning, Sunlight Sybil. So, oh, it's Becca. Your cats left you a gift this morning next to the chair where I have my morning coffee. Oh, I'm sure it's probably something dead. That's what they do. So we have the Magician card. And this is interesting because with this old man, it looks to be like Eastern or something like that, kind of a guru, with this type of hat that I don't recognize. The photo here is in black and white, which I think makes a good, interesting contrast. And then we have these flowers. This deck has a lot of layers, which I really enjoy. And I think there's always sort of new things to discover. And you know what? This is a 1. Okay? So this 1 looks very much like what I was questioning if it was a key. And no, not really, but a little bit inside the 0. I think that's just the way a 0 is made in the font that was selected, but I think that's interesting. We do have a key and a keyhole if you look at it like that, sort of. I feel like this is a deck. Some people will appeal to some people, other people will definitely not appeal to. But I really feel like it's a deck that you can sort of build your own inner world around, your own sort of meaning and stories. He does have a very big beard. There's just something about his face, you know, to me, he feels very approachable. You sense like wisdom, but you also sense, I don't know, sometimes some decks, some cards will just give you that feeling like you know the characters, or that you could know them, you know, or the people in them. So here's the High Priestess. And like the pattern on her shirt. Okay, this is not a pattern on her shirt. This is butterflies. All right, and if you move, you can see that they have their own sort of shine to them. It's kind of interesting. And look at, there's a triangle here. There's triangles. There's leaves in the background and more butterflies. There are a lot of butterflies. And we have this sort of, I would, inner light, third eye, moon. We'll go with the moon since the moon is a high priestess, you know. She's wearing these earrings with crosses on them. I like that. I think that's interesting. She doesn't hold a book or anything like that. I think that's fine. It's just not that kind of deck. There's symbolism, but it's not all reliant on already established symbolism. And I think maybe that's part of the reason why they called it an oracle, even though obviously tarot decks can have their own symbolism. But like I said, there's really not as much of a reliance on Rider-Waite-Smith pre-established symbolism. This is much more, to me, this feels like your dream world, or a dream world, an inner, world, someone's dream world that feels like it's scratched, but I don't think it is. So there's literal indents where these lines are that I can catch in the light. Anyway, yeah, so to me it feels very much like sort of a dreamscape. More like a dreamscape than a lot of decks that are called, dream decks. Okay, so I feel like it's very much meant to work on your intuition and also on your subconscious, as well as, or even more so than, your past tarot study. I am just going to get a couple of Tylenol, sorry. That is probably very noisy. I meant to grab it, but I was already recording when I thought I was sort of previewing. Okay. Delicious. I'm drinking grapefruit juice this morning with a squeeze of lemon in it, because I bought a bunch of lemons, and I'm like, why not put some lemon in your grape juice? Give it that fresh, fresh taste, because I bought a whole bag of lemons, and most likely, if I don't purposely use it instead of trying to save it for something better, it's gonna go to waste. Alright, so there. You probably listened to me drink enough. And, so I love grapefruit. I have a friend who said, I thought people only ate grapefruit to try to be virtuous. She's like, I had no idea people actually enjoyed grapefruit. I'm like, I love grapefruit. And for some reason, it never occurred to me to buy grapefruit juice until recently. So I go in, I get this ocean spray. We're having a little side trail, right? Ocean spray, ruby red, no high fructose corn syrup, original, grapefruit juice drink from concentrate. Now I'm assuming that there's actually somewhere that I can buy 100% grapefruit juice. But when I go to the grocery store that I shop at, they have 100% grocery juice, or 100% grocery juice. That's a thing. 100% fruit juices, but there's so much that's not, that it's, you have to look through so much to find it. And, I was kind of already sort of ready to be done shopping, so I found this and decided it was good enough. It's 30% juice. So it's not that 5% juice, it's 30% juice. So yeah, next time I'll look and see if I can find 100% juice. But it does have filtered water, grapefruit juice, sugar, citric acid. So it's not like, it doesn't appear to have a whole bunch of extra yucky stuff in it. Just mainly water, sugar, grapefruit juice, probably some preservatives because it is, sitting on a shelf. Anyway, back to the cards. Back to the cards. Does anyone like grapefruit juice or pink grapefruit juice? And does anyone buy like 100% grapefruit juice? And the reason that it never occurred to me, not the reason it never occurred to me, but the reason that it did occur to me finally was I actually, for some reason, thought to search what to drink for better skin, right? Specifically for better skin. And certain juices were mentioned, and grapefruit juice was one of them. Lemon and water was one of them. So hopefully I'm gonna have some beautiful skin after I finish this glass of grapefruit juice. All right, anyway, back on. We have the Empress. Okay, so she's holding these jewels in her hand. It could be kind of looks like a crown at first, but then it kind of doesn't. So anyway, she's holding jewels. She has butterflies. We have these gears. Gears are not a thing I would necessarily associate with the Empress, but now I will, or now I can. Becca Boo's not a big grapefruit juice fan. Or a big grapefruit fan. I really, 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 really love it. And you know what else I really like? I like kale. And the thing is, I like lots of things that are not healthy. So maybe that's part of the reason why. Like, I don't know. It's not like an either or for me in any sort of way. Oh no, I don't want those up against the wall. This is my jade plant. Anyway, so I avoided kale for so long because everyone was always complaining about kale and it didn't sound good. And then I tried it and I was like, oh, I actually really like it. And then I ate a whole bunch and it gave me kind of heartburn or chest pain or something that can be a side effect for some people. So I cannot eat it in great amounts, apparently. But I can eat it and I like it. Ooh, you passed your written exam. I knew you would. I knew you would, Becca. That's awesome. Ooh, I got a weird feeling in my right ear all of a sudden. Yes, I've been cleaning all week, and I've been getting into a new cleaning routine. So I definitely am going to be cleaning today, but if I'm lucky, not as much as I cleaned yesterday or the day before. just because those days were like clean, 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 clean. But I'm also trying to sort of rearrange my entire house, because I have a lot of things. So I'm trying to move some of the things that I kind of forget that I have, move them more into my living space, and kind of the things that I don't really need in my living space out of my living space. So basically I'm flipping everything, kind of rotating the whole thing. Clean, clean. Becca, I got new. You got me so off topic, girlfriend. Like I didn't do that to myself. So I got this Dawn dish soap. It's easy squeeze. I'm not sure what I feel about that, but you don't have to mess with the lid. You just squeeze it. And I guess you can keep it up, you know, I keep it technically upside down because this is the lid and you're supposed to keep it with the lid down because it's not supposed to come out unless you squeeze it, but I'm not ready for that. But anyway, pomegranate and rose water scent. Not very strong, but if you use a decent amount, you get a little bit of scent. Yep, it's pink. And for some reason I thought, no one likes really doing dishes, especially, but I thought, you know what? From now on, every time I go, I'm gonna get like a different scent. Even if I just buy Dawn or whatever, I'm gonna just get different scent. Just something that'll make washing dishes a little bit more interesting. Because I got this and I was just like, I just wanted to know I was so excited to know what it smelled like that I did load a small load of dishes just so I could smell it. I thought, hey, and also, I've been learning that with my sort of personality type or whatever, that it can be important to like change things up a lot in order to, like, you keep your routines, but you've also got to change things in order to sort of stay motivated or whatever. So that's my life hack for today is, you know, yeah, my oldest son actually was like pomegranate, and I was like, no, I'm not gonna get that. I'm gonna get, and then I was like, why not? Why not? Right? So I was either gonna buy Blue Dawn or, mm, um, shoot, Power Dawn or whatever. So then I decided to buy the pomegranate. So yeah, this is another thing I'm gonna start doing is having more interesting scents, right? And everything. Okay, so the Empress. We have like these roses here, and I don't know if these are roses or balloons or what, because, oh my goodness. Okay. All right. I'm going to say that these are actually hibiscus. I was going to say hyacinth. I was going to say hyacinth when I mean hibiscus. I'm going to say these are hibiscus, which is the flower for the goddess Kali. And it's delightful. I drink hibiscus tea. It's so good. And I got a bunch of cleaning supplies that were hibiscus scented as well. And again, it's nice. I might play around with that a little bit more. I don't know. Who cares, right? So anyway, we got the hibiscus in there. But I think these are roses. These are hibiscus. And you do see repeating things. Some people will not enjoy that. Will be bored with. We have a lot of mirroring. We have, sort of repeating. Now she's in a different pose. But I don't know. To me, it sort of lends to the whole kind of dreamy quality. One could say surreal, but I don't know. I like, whatever. if you're a reader who reads intuitively or who reads by, you know, this just picking out what sort of jumps out at you, these cards definitely have a lot to them. In my opinion, you could definitely read these more like an intuitive oracle and completely never mind the meanings. The Emperor, now this is interesting, right? The Emperor is jumping in the shower to smell clean. Right. I have lots of good smelling things in the bathroom too. In the bathtub, like different scents of soaps that I got from that Tio got me from the store nearby him. All right, so we have this honeycomb, which is really interesting because I feel like this is a very sort of feminine emperor in a way. Because I think of bees as being very feminine, although the worker bees are masculine, but we have an emperor. This is the ruler. So I don't know, but I like honeycomb, so I'm gonna go with it. And I just get this feeling that the more I work with this deck, sort of the more of an inner world I can sort of create with it. And I think as you build your inner world with your deck, that's really how you bond with your deck, you know, and like really work well with it. So anyway, I started to say we've got this all the wrong words. I want to say dragonfly, that's not it. I want to say horsefly, that's not it. Seahorse, right? Okay, seahorse. So the seahorse is interesting because, again, the seahorse, the male, gives birth, right? So it's just interesting to me that for the Emperor, for the Aries, normally we think of Aries energy, we think of really masculine in terms of human masculinity or human, you know, traits that we've put onto masculinity. None of that is organic. It's all cultural. But I'll leave that off for now. So we have the seahorse. We have the daddy who cares for the babies. It's just really interesting. As our emperor. There's another seahorse up here that's harder to see. And there's just a lot happening, right? And also, strangely, usually the emperor is air, or fire I mean, and we have water, and then we have bees. It's all very strange, unexpected. And I think, to me, you know, some people really want to work with a deck that shows them what they expect and doesn't make them question and doesn't make them wonder. And for me, I just feel like that's where the growth happens. I mean, yes, sometimes you want to pick up a comfort deck that you can just easily, you know, go with. I feel like I can read with this right off the bat, but I feel like I can grow with it a lot too. So this is just me. Knowledge, right? This is pretty cool. We have this sort of Indian guru. Maybe it's someone specific that I don't know. You know? Who knows? He's got this great big crazy beard. He's much bigger than his devotees down here. And then we got this blue in the back. This interestingly gives me, and then this, I don't know what this is. It looks like crystals, but they're like see-through. There's something sort of ghosty there. This sort of reminds me of like Osho Zen. Bad things about Osho Zen, or Osho, like the Osho cult. I believe they wore orange, and then there's another, I don't know. Orange seems to be like a culty color. So it's giving me cult, which is probably not what was meant, but whatever. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. But it's also giving me High Priestess. Like, High Priestess. I mean, this is would be the High Priest, but it's giving me sort of High Priestess vibes because we've got this sort of curtain that's watery, and we've even got this tower over here. That's really interesting. But again, I'm liking this. It's just my brain, my mind, my creativity really enjoys having this like deck to play with. So here we have the Lovers. The Lovers. I don't know why, but this was giving me Ben Affleck for a minute. I don't even think it looks like Ben Affleck, right? It's what we got, what do we call Jennifer, J-Lo, and Ben Affleck. Bennifer. It's our Bennifer card. So much, you know, so much going on. This is also interesting because we don't have, it's not a typical lovers card, right? They're not positioned like we are used to seeing them. They're not looking at each other. But he has his arms around her, okay? And he's looking this way, she's looking that way. But yet they're connected. We sense the connection. Like, I don't know. I really like it. I really like it. I like this deck. This deck's crazy. I'm dying to read from this deck, but I really wanted to do a walk through first. I've been really excited about this deck for so long. Becca's going to come back and be like, you've gotten through 3 cards since I've been on. The Chariot. Now look at this. Again, very unexpected. You don't see a literal chariot. You don't see... You see wings. You see a person with these wings. Now, to me, these wings, they look so heavy. They look like paddles. They look like oars. They actually make me think of Native American, even though they look sort of like Eastern. But look at, we've got this Pisces symbol, which usually I think the Chariot is associated with Cancer, which is another water sign. But that's all right. And just, we've got this orange smoke. We've got these, I feel like somebody really enjoyed putting this together, you know? Rays of color. And then this here. And again, it's not your normal Chariot associations. It's a little bit, you know? You don't even have to read it as the Chariot. There's this interesting sort of hole in the ground. These holes in the sand. That's just how I take the fact that it's called an oracle, even though it's clearly a tarot deck, that it's... They're all labeled as the tarot cards. They all clearly represent the tarot cards, but yet I just feel like you can... excuse me. Really break out of a tarot, the tarot system. You can kind of break in and out of it. I mean, some people really need that structure and that system. Some people rebel against it, but this is like you can move in and out of it. I don't know, strength. And we have this sort of lion on it. This is different, you know. We normally see, I don't want to constantly say why it's different, because like, it's another thing I appreciate about learning a new deck is learning it for itself and not comparing it. But yeah, when you, this is also a reason why I don't recommend starting with the Rider-Waite-Smith deck, because you get locked in on those very specific ideas, and it's like you can't even read a card until you can remember what it looks like as a Rider-Waite-Smith. That's not how we're supposed to be reading tarot. We're supposed to be interpreting the signs in front of us. So, you know, but regardless, normally you'll see a lion and you'll see a lady. Here we have a man who's a warrior, or we can assume it's a man, but guess what? There's a mask. It could be a woman, it could be a rabbit, it could be nothing inside of there. It could be your dream. It could be a dream, and it could be yourself looking at yourself. It could be anything. Oops. Woo. Alright, here's the Hermit card. Definitely kind of draws me back. Okay. I guess just because of the beard. It's definitely, you know, a totally different person. the magician. And you notice the magician has this very large beard or mustache. I'm seeing a lot of really big curly beards and mustaches. In that one, and in this one as well. Oopsie. I really like the backs. This is a bag. This bag and the Chicoli bag. The Chicoli card backs. Green isn't my favorite color or anything, but this just feels so sort of old world Italian, and this, I don't know. There's just something about that type of backing that appeals to me. So you look at the hermit and you see that we have all these stained glass windows behind him. And then here it's almost like he's holding one as if it were a card. And there's more. See, there's this other person with hands. In my head, you could say it's somebody else. In my hand, it's him. I feel very much like, and he's reading this book. And there's a sort of light coming out of the book. Picasso, right? So Picasso had paintings where he would paint in the same image. You're seeing different, it's basically multi-dimensional, right? So you're actually seeing at the same time different angles of the same image, right? And so this is how I feel from this deck. I feel from this deck that this is multi-dimensional and that, like, this is his hands. This is him. In the same way that that we see, to me, this is her hands and this is her, like, in a different angle. And it's like you're seeing sort of multiple dimensions of time and space at once. So this is like, my brain loves that, all right? My brain loves that non-linear factor. And now look at this. It looks almost like a puppet. But I think it's somebody who's meditating and the energies may be going up. It's very kind of abstract and just sort of an energy body. Like, there's no features there. I almost didn't even realize it was there. And you see these, like reflections from a prismatic reflections. Just pieces of light dancing. Can you hear music? Because I can hear like sort of a wind chimey type of sound with this card. Ooh. So as a Swiftie, I think mirror ball, disco ball, you know. This is the wheel, and we have the flower of life inside. And look at how this pattern is on the wheel, but goes out past the wheel. And interestingly, when I look at it, and then when I look at it through the phone I can more kind of perceive the extra sort of how this ball glows past its line. It's hard to explain, but I don't see it as much when I look directly at it as I do when I look through the phone. Like how there's like the line where the wheel ends and then the kind of glows past it. Here we also have the flower of life over here. And we have another wheel right here. It looks like a merry-go-round. Right? So this wheel. So this sort of interlapping wheels, and we have these orbs, and we have these strings, and we have the flower of life kind of behind everything and inside and through everything. I don't know. It looks simple, But to me, it just feels, honestly, like there's so much more there than what you normally see. It's just, to me, to my mind, it's less limiting. This deck is just very expansive, okay? Here's the Justice card. Now look at how she is inside of like her own sort of, right in the pelvic bowl area. It's very interesting. We have all these spectrums of color. We've got her two swords. One looks like it's metal, one looks like it's wood. Okay, maybe it's not wood, but it's brownish, and it's going through a leaf that also, or a wing. It looks like wings. Okay, so we have like sort of fairy Amazon warrior person. Like the mythology of this deck is its own mythology. Its own. It's not borrowed from. It's not, so some people would be uncomfortable with that and would be like, you know, which is it kind of a thing. Like, this is, you gotta get out of all the boxes in your head to work with this deck. And I know, I know why a certain Virgo passed this deck to me, because that's, Virgo brain is in those boxes, works in those boxes, okay? This is a outside of the box deck of cards, okay? And that's what makes me so excited for it, because most tarot decks just feel so inside the box. And I just love this. I love that this deck is just smashes the box right open. In my opinion. The Hangman is one of the cards that has two decks. I like to see, this is like a little indie deck, I think. I don't even know if, I'm assuming it's still being printed. Honestly, I'd like to see it have more success than, you know, I don't know how it's doing. But I know that stuff that really tickles me tends to be, again, it's outside of the box, so it's going to struggle in some ways, because the things that are in the box that are expected, that are what people expect, people like to get what they expect, you know? So I feel like this deck is probably just always going to be kind of a niche thing, but who knows, you know? Who knows? Who knows? I hope all the best for it and its creator. In fact, I hope its creator creates something else for me to explore after this. Alright, so anyway. The Hanged Man. Alright? We've got two of them. So, this is an astronaut hanging upside down, which is interesting because it makes me think of how an astronaut in space, and astronauts aren't always in space. They can be on Earth. They're still astronauts. But anyway, in space, there's kind of no upside down, no right side up. You know? So, I don't know. It kind of makes it, to me, this card challenges the whole concept of being upside down. It's showing me upside down, but it's challenging the concept of upside down. It's really challenging the concept of perspective, more so than any other Hangman card. I mean, you would think, why on earth would you put an astronaut as the Hanged Man? Why? Why on earth? Get it? No pun intended on that. Because you're totally challenging the idea of perspective, of being upside down and being right side up, because in space, there's no such thing, right? So I'm going to turn it right side up just so I can look at it. Like, in, you know, so I'm turning it upside down so I can look at it right side up. See how the perspective is challenged. And we have watches or gears or some type of something that measures degrees, some type of instrumentation. And then we have gears down here. So I wouldn't say that these are necessarily clocks. Maybe they're not clocks. You know, maybe they measure pressure or altitude or whatever. Who's to say? And even if they do measure one specific thing, maybe to your subconscious, maybe they measure something else. Maybe, you know, what do you need to measure? What temperature do you need to take? What do you need to take stock of, right? What do you need to gauge? That's the word I want. This type of gauge, right? What do you need to gauge in your life or inside of you? What's the pressure level inside your heart, in your mind, in your cells, in your mitochondria? What's the pressure level in your mitochondria? Have you asked yourself lately? I bet you haven't. And so the second now has this pink, this beautiful pink color. And this sets the trees out more for me. So, because it's more of a contrast. So here, I just kind of see these radiating lines. And here, I can really see that the radiating lines are trees in a forest, which makes sense, because you usually see the hangman hanging from a tree. And he does appear to have maybe a string on him that you don't even see in this one. So, you see, there's not a string. Here, and I think it might just be the light, the way the light is. But you could see maybe a string on his foot. And he's hanging from the trees. And the trees are all around him. So again, with the perspective, not just perspective in terms of the hangman meaning perspective, but the perspective, you know, in general in this deck. I feel like I'd really like to have a conversation with this person. I don't know. I just feel, not this person, the creator of this deck. I don't know, but I just feel like their brain would be interesting. Like that maybe, you know, I guess it's kind of a thing with artsy people anyway, but, you know, our brains just tend to be a little different, right? I don't know. Oops. And I see that sort of reflected in the deck. Transformation, this is such a, like, fairy card, right? Because we've got the mushroom, fungus, and there's butterfly, and there's this web of light. And if you look at it, I'm pretty sure you're gonna see, yeah, the flower of life is in there again. And we're in the woods, and there's all these leaves and vegetation, and this is lit up in this transformation card, and what you don't see is the mycelium underneath that links like the entire planet. It's like the nerve system of the planet is these mushrooms. And all we see is this sort of top issue right up here. You know? The more you know. This is not your average death card. You know? This is something special. Here we have patience. I like this. This one has more of a glowing than this one. This one doesn't glow as much. So this one we've got bubbles, right? We've got these blacks. They could be anything. They could be... So right away I see crystals, like pyrite crystals, I guess. They look like they could be platinum. But like the crystal, the cube-shaped crystals. And they're stacked together. They're building, but they're coming apart, or they're coming together. They're going together, they're going apart. Either one. And then we have these wings, and then we have these bubbles, and then we have these, all these little, not sure what. I'm not sure. It's like champagne-y, kind of bubbly, or also kind of makes me think of amber, the formation of amber, you know, which takes a lot of time, obviously. And then this one is more psychedelic, right? So this one, we have bubbles, so we have more of sort of a lifting sensation. Here we have more of a dripping sensation, which is very different. For some reason here, I don't know why, but I see the hand, like the hand, I noticed the hand, like, I saw the hand, but it just, I don't know, I was focused on this. Here all of a sudden I'm like, oh yeah, there's a hand there. There was always a hand there. Just you change one detail and you just notice different things. This hand, it looks like a businessman, you know? This is like a businessman. He's got this sort of empire that he's building in his hand, glowing gold. Also kind of makes me think of, even though it's a cube, like the pyramids, some ancient, like, thing that was built that was, like, more than just a building. Hard to explain. The devil. You only have one devil, there's no choices. This woman makes me think of Rihanna for some reason, but anyway, someone has a hold of her hair, right? And they're pulling it, and it looks like she's enjoying that. We can assume she's enjoying it. Or we could assume that she's not enjoying it. I mean, it's a card that you can, obviously, you can interpret however you feel, you know? You could feel like she's stuck there because someone has got her, you know, and or you can, or she could be stuck there because someone has got her. Through her, you know, pleasure and enjoyment. And then we see sort of tentacles, it looks like. But also, it looks like jewels. It looks like tentacles, it looks like jewels. I love this devil card. Like, I love a devil card that's not scary, but this, like, feels like it's about temptation. And we have, like, this warmth, you know, sort of heat in the background. And then look at it again, and there's, see, now I thought Rihanna. There's these circles in the back. They look like records, like literal records that you would play, or they look like ones and zeros, you know, or they look like a grid, squares with ovals in them. You know, there's just the way it's done. It can suggest so many different things. This is what I like, okay? This is what I like, is like this, yeah, open. All right, this is interesting. So we have this sort of subway tile here. This is the tower. Oh, there's only one tower. I was thinking there were two. And we got chucks, right? We got some chucks, and we've got some socks, and we got feet, right? Well, you know, you think the tower explodes, right? And everyone's falling, and their feet are upside down, but yet none of these people seem super distressed. We also have the same kind of stained glass that we saw in... Some people feel like they don't like that repetition. They feel like it's lazy or whatever. And I feel like, no, I mean, if you look at Rider-Waite-Smith, there's certain symbols that reappear all throughout the deck. And we accept that because it's, you know, tradition. But you see those towers, you know, you see, man, you'll see those towers in the moon card in so many other cards. And you'll be like, well, I never knew that was there. So here's the hermit. So how is the hermit and the tower, how are they connected? Like this, you know, how are they connected? Why do they share symbolism? I believe that there's a meaning. unlike, say, what is it? Oh my God, that one tarot that's so bad I want to get it just because it's so bad. And even just work with it and see if it ever, like, develops its own meaning. Because our brains will make meaning from things for sure. But, like, it's such Cosmo, the Cosmo tarot or whatever. Oh, it was terrible. It's so bad. It's the worst tarot deck ever. And because of that, I want it. Because the worst tarot deck ever, you gotta have it. That's notable. Anyway. Oh, we have all these shoes, and we have this stained glass, and also that, it's in a circle, sort of a repeating circular pattern. Honestly, it makes me think of, like, Rome, and like all the ancient buildings. Like, what's the one with the big like hole in the top where the sun comes in, and the way that the sun hits the inside of the building every day is a work of art in itself. Stuff like that, man. This tower, I mean, I don't know. We see this person wearing these short pants and these funky socks and these Chuck Taylors. And then their leg over here. So we're having that different angle. And then these are different funky socks. But is it the same person? Or is it another person? Also like head over heels, heels over head, kind of being tossed around, different angles. The way that, the tower is so discombobulating, it's a break of the establishment, the established everything that you were depending on. And to me, I believe that the devil card is inside the tower, and that, what seems terrible is because, it's being destroyed, but what's being destroyed, what was in there, was that people were enslaved. People were, trapped by their own comfort, by their own, sense of those boxes, by these boring subway tiles. Some people really like subway tiles. Like, I took interior design as an associate's degree in it, right? And it was a very small class, and people were just crazy for decorating with subway tiles. They're so boring. They're so they're just bland, and they're just so. This is just, and Chuck Taylors specifically are a shoe of like the outsider, like the rebel, like the nonconformist, And this is almost like this person here could be the tower, and then this foot is kicking the tower. It's just like, rather than that bolt of lightning, we've got, someone just kicking someone right in the shin. Just like, it's just like when you're being so stupid and you just need someone to come up to you and just say, what the fuck you doing, man? This is what this tower is like to me. It's just like, yeah, everything that's established and safe, and even feeling safe in your, like, nonconformity, even though you've got your what you think of as your individuality all worked out. You think you got yourself in this new box. It looks different than other people's boxes, but it's still a box, and you put some funky, socks on your box. Dr. Seuss. But yeah, So anyway, the tower is about that sort of. A tower to me is always like, you ignored something for so long, or you let something go because it was comfortable, because it was easy. It's like you didn't want to make that change that needed to be changed, and so the universe said, time for a change. You didn't want to do it, so now you're going to be forced to do it. And you're not going to like it. Because you were super, super comfortable in your little prison with the devil pulling on your hair. Look at the regular, or the, you know, traditional devil card. And those people, they don't look like they're going anywhere. This star, she looks like she's got like a jar of honey or something. But maybe not. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe she's got a jar of stars. And beautiful red hair. And she's got moons in her hair. And she's got, like, this sort of crown of stars, but it's so energetic. Like, if you were dreaming and this person came up to you, what would your dream be about? You know? And look at her body. It's like it's almost made up of stars. I told you I was excited about this deck. Nobody's watching. It's okay. Maybe some people will watch watch it back later. The moon. This is really interesting. It's like a cat person, sort of. It looks like it could be. And she's got like very ninja. Maybe that's the wrong thing to say, but it's like ninja. It's like Power Rangers, you know? She's stealthy. Yeah, the ninja makes sense for the moon, right? She's stealthy. And look at here, someone's eyes are covered, but they have their third eye. And here we have that cat person again. And here we have the water. And instead of the crayfish, like, coming up out of the water and then being of the subconscious and then being sucked back down again and coming back up, you know, we have this person. And then there's just other maybe person here. I don't know. This has got a lot of sort of fairy energy. And there's a person here. It's like a nymph, or almost like a, what are those, like, evil sex demon. It's like a succubus, almost, or something. I don't know. It's the moon. It's mystery. It's seduction. It's intuition. It's subconscious. Trying to become conscious. The sun. Wow. Wowza. Wowza. Wow. This is like, makes me think of like the Terminator, right? It's like this gold face that's just melting, but it's, wow. I don't know, man. I just don't know. It feels like rebuilding with the bees and everything. It feels like putting yourself together, like, effortlessly, though, like exploding and creating the universe, and then like just watching the sun like explode, and then watching it all kind of go in reverse and kind of back together, and then just explode again. Judgment. This has got so much. We've got the trumpet, the horn. And we've got people sort of rising up, and we got a record. See, I knew there was a record. Record player plays a song by going around and around and around and around. It's like the repetition of the eras, like the beginning, the end, the beginning, the end. It's always the end of something new. End of something is the beginning of something new. But like, I know that in cosmology, like, there's, like, this concept of sort of, you know, the end of the world. There are people who will say the world's ended, you know, millions of times or whatever, you know, and then it just starts over again. It's that cycle of death and rebirth. And you have all these spirals to really represent that. Then we have the world. The world. This is so interesting. We have the world like the earth. And then we have like this dripping, like, could be honey, but it makes me think of amber. Amber. And then here's like the moon, and here's a planet. But it's interesting because the middle of the world card is not a round shape, but it's a square or like a door. So I was going to say we have this square or rectangle, but we don't have the bottom. And then this is in water, and this is like all this greenery. And then here we have this sort of statuary. It's very innate. But also, you know, I think this represents like demons, or not demons in the sense, in the evil Christian sense of demons, but demons in the more of the sense of like other dimensional entities, I guess. Yeah. And yeah, like this door or portal, kind of this portal. All right, well, I got lost in that for a second. Now we have fire, okay? Ace of fire, and we have hands, and we're holding this sort of, looks like a coconut. Upon further inspection, maybe it'll be something else. And also, it looks like eyes peeking out, but I don't think they are eyes. But that, I did see that, because they're actually like sort of a star shape. So, I mean, obviously, Ace of Fire, Ace of Wands. We've got the red, we've got the yellow, we've got the fire. And we've got the fire, and it's presented like a gift to you, like, you know. And here, again, perspective, we've got the hands, and we've got the hands. And also, what is this? It looks like, a TARDIS or something, like a phone booth, but I don't know if that's it. It could be something else. But, of course, we're going to take a look at the aces, right? Ace of Waters, also going to be hands, which actually, in its own way, is very traditional RWS, right? So, we've got a bowl of fire. And here we've got a gift of fish and water shaped in a heart. And then here we have the Ace of Air, and we've got a cyclone, and we've got, this time we've got a body, and we've got butterflies. But notice there's also butterflies in the fire. Why is that? Why is that? And if you look at the RWS, again, you'll see a lot of symbols of different elements. The swords have lots of water in them. You know, for example, the sword cards have so much water in them. There's a Pegasus. There's moths. There's, again, the layering of hands. And the body is showing us that this is in the head. This is the storms in the mind. The storms and the flights of fancy, and the goals, and the dreams, and the wishes, and the hopes, and the fears that are swirling in the mind. How long have I been on, man? Alright, Ace of Earth, we have a skull. Again, we're reminded of our mortality. the Bible says something about, whatever is seen is temporary and whatever is unseen is eternal. Right? Interesting. Sometimes you can quote the Bible because sometimes there's good stuff in there. Not always. We have multiple skulls in this garden, this Ace of Earth. Everything that grows from death. Everything. Life springs forth from death. The only reason that the earth has, vitamins and so on and so forth, and nutrients and rich, whatever, is because of the things that are decomposing. Organic decomposing matter. What does that mean? Decay. What does that mean? That means something was alive and it's not alive anymore. And because it's not alive, something else is and can be. We don't like to think about things like that. So those are all four of the aces. So I don't know why I'm like scrolling through. Those are the aces. I don't think that the twos all have things in common. But I love this tree with the door. Two of fire, two of wands. You know what I think about with two of wands really is like your wands, your inspiration, right? And you have one and everything's singular, and then two is like that realization that there's me and there's something outside of me. There's here and there's there. There's 2 points now. And there's something beyond the here and the now. Something out there. That's what two of fire is. Let's see. Two of water. I don't really see anything in the two of water like that I would compare, there's not a similarity really. I don't think so. It's okay. You don't have to have that. Some decks just do, and usually it's kind of one of those things you start to recognize over time. You're like, wait, all the twos have whatever. So look, we have the two sources of light, the two lamps. So now our fire is contained a little bit more. Whoops. You know, it's not just blazing. It's contained. It's in these lamps, right? And it's shining out beyond to show us that there's more. There's more to this life. Okay. Here's the biggest complaint I have about this deck. It's that this font that's used, the 3 looks like a 5. There's a line right here, a diagonal line, that I cannot make out. And so it looks so much like a 5. Here's what the 5 looks like. Here's what the 2 looks like. That's my only complaint, is I just wish that they had maybe gone in, darkened that line, or put some white behind it, or some other color behind it, or anything to really emphasize that that's a 3, because I have a hard time with the number 3. But it's okay, and it's interesting because this is the first time I noticed it. But our minors, not our aces, but our minors after the ace, have the very unusual characteristic of having the number down here and the Roman numeral at the top. Look at that. So that's kind of Awesome. So you kind of cross-reference that. That's neat. I just noticed that. So again, fire. We've got all this fire color, explosion, 3. You know, 3 is just, you know, here we have a fire swallower up at the top, and down here we have someone being creative, writing a song on top of a mountain. Like, climb every mountain, sing every song. Until you find your dream. What song is that? I feel like it's the Sound of Music, but I don't know. Alright. 4 now. We have a house. Perfect. Okay, it's perfect. I want to know if there's houses in other 4s. There is a house in that 4. Okay. There's not a house in that 4. I hope there's a house in this 4. I don't see it. But I think it's alright. I don't see it in that one, but 4 fire. So now, again, our fire is contained. We've got 4 walls. We've got this home. We've got warmth inside. The lights are on, except for a couple. And then, I don't know. I like this sort of figure sitting on top of this barn. It's really, really hard to tell what that is, which is okay because your imagination can play with that when you're doing a reading, you know? I like it when your imagination has things to play with. 5 of fire. Wow. I mean, this isn't your average. You don't see anyone fighting. This is definitely outside of the box. And we see her here, and we see her here. Why are there 3 of her? It's okay that there's 3 of her. Unless there's more that I'm just not seeing. Like, okay, well, I would say that she is a warrior. Especially in this one. Even though, of course, warriors, you know, only fantasy warriors dress like that. But she does have a look and a gait and a stance of a warrior. And confidence, right? And you don't always think of the 5 of fire as confidence. You always think of it as conflict. Conflict, confidence. Interesting. But this gives me, like, you think of it conflict, but you can also think of it as competition, right? And so, like, obviously in conflict and competition, you need that confidence, that boldness, that assertiveness, that, like, sort of take no prisoners attitude, you know? Six of fire. I don't know. Okay, so he's reading the paper, but something's burning, but it's not being consumed. There's burning, there's flames, but it's not being consumed. There's wheat. Like, this is a very strange Six of fire. And we see, I was thinking it was like lanterns floating up, but these are candles that are upside down. These are candles, upside down candles, sort of floating in the air. What does that mean? That's exactly, it's like I said, some people want to look and immediately know what it means, right? But just think of how your brain can play with something when you don't know what it means. Think about that. Six of fire. And also there's like this sort of pyramid shape here. And there's this, I don't know, it looks like an angel. No, it's just a flame, but it looks like an angel. And this piece here looks like a swan, but I don't think it's anything necessarily. So normally our Six of Fire is like our victory card, right? But here we have this guy and he's sitting there reading a newspaper and there's, you know, maybe there's just a burning inside of him to succeed, this burning drive and desire. Again, I feel like it's multi-dimensional, so it could be showing what's happening inside of him, or like something was ignited. It's really, this is one that I don't have like an immediate, you know, thing for. Seven of Fire. This is a volcano. This gives me like aliens, volcano, goddess, archery, you know, like Artemis, sort of Pele, obviously. This is one that's harder to read. It's just more of a feeling. Eight of Fire. Ooh. See, we have all these people lifting up all around. So this is the movement card, right? This makes me think of the freaking thing that I don't believe in. The what's the word I want? You know, where all the people get lifted up into the sky, right? What's that called? Hey Google, what's it called when all the Christians get lifted up into the sky?
According to Wikipedia, the term rapture was used by Philip Doddridge and John Gill in their New Testament commentaries, with the idea that believers would be caught up prior to judgment on earth and Jesus' second coming.
Thank you, Google. Hey Google, thank you.
Not a problem.
Right, okay, so it's like the rapture. Which is sudden change, sudden movement, absolutely. Right? Nine of Fire, right? So Nine of Fire, this person is juggling all this fire. Some of these cards give me like Hawaii. So I'm just kind of looking to see if, do they all? No, they don't all, because I'm getting all different sort of cultural things. And this I see like just absolute effort and raised energy. And I can hear this one too. And you have the Ten of Fire. This is funny because she's like blue and she's wearing like a jean jacket, I think, and sunglasses, and it's not this at all, but it made me think of the Avatar movie. Not the Airbender one, but the other one. And again, we've got like all the fire, and it looks like she's got sort of multiple arms. So we've got this like fire goddess energy again. And this symbol here, it's not the yin-yang symbol. I don't know exactly. I guess maybe it's just a spiral, but they really do give me like overall like Eastern but Hawaiian. Page of Wands. Look at this. Like talent. You know. Inborn talent. I love just the sparkliness. The fire. And there's this little person in a canoe down here. And there's this sort of landscape up here in the trees, and then there's the sky and this sort of cosmic. And again, the water is red, like lava. Like, you know, there's just this sort of ancient cosmic fiery energy. The Knight of Wands. Look at that. Look at that. There's so much. There's just so much for the eye and the brain and the imagination to do. These are not the kind of pictures you can just look at and just immediately see and know all there is to know. Or even like take in a small portion of it. This flame looks like a rose to me. This deck doesn't come with any type of book. And that's another thing. Is I do believe that very much that it's meant to be read fully intuitively and fully engaging your own senses and your own creativity and imagination. This Queen of Fire is just stunning. Just stunning. And, I don't know. I feel like this is an instrument here, but I'm not even totally sure. Or is a lamp. At first I thought it was kind of like a banjo, like this was connected and then this was sort of over it. But now it actually looks like we've got two separate things. But what I first saw is what I first saw. And there's even lines that kind of remind me of the bars, like when they write out music, even though there's more than there would be. And again, there's this sort of pattern behind everything. You know? A lot of sacred geometry in here. Even with the, you know, the honeycomb shapes that I was wondering about. Here's the King of Fire. And the King of Fire, this is interesting because I did look into this. The King of Fire, the Ace of Fire. You see that repetition, that hand, the same hands. Now you know whose hands it is. It's the King. Presenting that. But I'm pretty sure that you don't see that in all of the kings. Like, one thing that you do see, and one thing that I saw as a complaint, that, again, I choose to not have be a complaint for me, is that all the kings are the same person. And I actually think that's really interesting. I don't believe all the queens are, although maybe they are. But I'm okay with that. I feel like there's more than enough characters in a tarot deck that, like, if you really want to connect with this card, you can make up a story in your head as you work with it about who this guy is, who this king is, and why. Why is he the same king? Is he the same king, or does he just look the same? Maybe there were four, what are quadruplets, quadruplets born at the same time, and the kingdom was divided into four, each given an equal share. Or maybe it's the same person, you know? So that's the king. And like I said, the King of Fire mirrors back the Ace of Fire in a way that the other cards don't do. The other kings don't, which would be cool, but I'm pretty sure that they do other cool things instead. Because this is a cool deck. It's got cool things. So, you know, here we have the Ace of Air. Here we have... Why do I have water now? Okay, if I'm doing water, let's get the water one. Okay. Here we have the Ace of Water, and I think we're going to see this pink heart a lot. And again, don't be fooled, don't be oversimplified. There is absolutely sacred geometry involved here. This reminds me of like the spirograph, doing the spirograph as a kid. So we're the Ace with 2 fishes. I'll tell you the truth. I don't love that there's 2 fishes in an Ace, because I want there to be 1 of something. Because the Ace is very about singularity. But yet, you know, again, it's something my brain is gonna scratch at my brain because it doesn't feel right. And eventually, it's gonna unlock something really important. That's what happens. That's what happens for me anyway. That's one reason I don't, like, some people, it's like they only want to work with the tarot deck if every single card is to their liking. I wonder if Becca's ever going to come back and watch while she cleans. Because I got no audience. I mean, it's fine, I get to just babble. This is what I get for saying, nope, I'm not reading cards. No one wants to come in, but whatever. Shoot, I lost my train of thought. Some people, I've seen so many people talk about this, talk about like doing walkthroughs or otherwise talking about their cards, and like, it's like, or just talking about in groups, what was a card that ruined a deck for you? What, like, I would have bought this deck, but this card ruined it. And I don't feel like, I don't know, it's just me, but to me, learning tarot is not about staying in your comfort zone. There's nothing wrong with having a comfort deck and a deck that you can just pick up and, like, you know, read, as I said. There's nothing wrong with having a deck that reads, that's an easy reader, you know, but I mean, if you're going to have more than one deck, you've got an easy reader, I would assume. Let's have some decks that challenge you. And sometimes the challenge is in, I don't get this, I don't know why. Just don't assume that just because the creator made a choice that you wouldn't have made, or that you don't like, or that it doesn't make sense to you, that it was just laziness, you know, or that they didn't have a reason for why they did it. And even if they didn't have a reason, again, our minds are amazing. They will create meaning. And in that creation of meaning, you will learn something, you will unlock things. So I just feel like it's frustrating to me when people will take a deck and say, I don't like this card, or I don't like, I don't know. I just look for a different criteria than is every single card unique and pretty and to my exact liking and showing what I want to see in that card, you know? So a deck that challenges you may be one that, I mean, I can see if the majority of the cards are just not to your liking in any way and they don't connect with you. I mean, that makes sense. But, like, just so many times I've seen this whole, like, one card will ruin the deck for me. And I feel like, what a lost opportunity. That one card, that deck could have blown your whole world open, and you missed that opportunity. Because if one card makes you, it makes you uncomfortable, even if it's like too violent. Like you don't want to see animals being hurt and an animal's, you know, being stabbed because it's the 10 of swords. Or you know, you don't want to see whatever type of thing that's depicted. I mean, I guess everyone's got to have limits or whatever too, but I just couldn't let one card ruin a deck. I feel like that sometimes a card that you think doesn't fit or that you don't like or that just doesn't right away do it for you is a learning experience. You're not going to learn more from a new deck if all it does is confirm what you already believe and think. So, yeah. 2 water. So we have the 2 people coming together. They're not looking at each other, they're looking out at us. And they each have one hand, like, sort of hanging down, and one hand sort of, like, touching their body. And we have this heart, and I do think that's going to be repeated through most of the cards. And also, there's a triangle, and there's an eye. Like, there's a lot of going on. And this is also, looks like, what are those things? It's a computer animation and, like, sort of continues the shapes and the... I wouldn't even know what to ask Google. There's a word. Google, what is, Google? Hey, Google. What is that animation sort of repetition of a pattern that goes in itself? Okay. Okay, it worked. Alright, so, yeah, this looks to be like a fractal, I would say. Hey, Google, show me fractals.
According to Wikipedia, in mathematics, a fractal is a geometric shape containing detailed structure at arbitrarily small scales, usually having a fractal dimension strictly exceeding the topological dimension. Many fractals appear similar at various scales, as illustrated in successive magnifications of the Mandelbrot set.
That's a lot of big words. So anyway, there's fractals going on, but there's also other things in there. And I can almost see like a horse in the water, like a shape of a horse and a wolf. That's interesting. Okay. Anyway, so this, I don't know, they look like wrappers. They look like soft, like popish sort of wrappers. They just do to me. And there's this angel in the background, and there's these 2 why can't I think of it? The seahorses. So there's very much sort of this, like, things in pairs with this 2 of water. Then we have the 3 of water, where we have this stone fountain. And then we have this woman repeated 3 times with this sort of heart aura around her head. Aura, yeah. Whoopsie. Putting things in the wrong place. Then we have this 4 of water, where we have a rainbow, which is normally shown in a 10. So why is it shown in the 4? Well, 4 is a symbol of, or number of stability, right? And we have the house, and we have this lock and key. This makes me think a little bit of the 4 of Pentacles, you know, safety, security, holding on to what you have. He's underwater. So he's got this over his face. I think he's underwater. Maybe he's not underwater. All of a sudden, this made me think of Chandler from Friends. He's got no shoes on. And we only see one foot. So what is Four of Water generally about? Four of Cups, we'll see someone sitting under a tree and sort of refusing or not noticing something that's given to them, something that's unwanted. We see this house is behind him. So maybe he doesn't see that. I don't see this as a traditional Four of Cups, though. Again, it makes me feel a lot like Four of Pentacles. Similar Four of Pentacles type of energy. But, you know, in a way, they're similar in like they're about, I have what I have, and I don't, nothing's gonna, I don't want anything to change. I don't want anything to come in. I don't want anything to go out. You know, Four of Water is like refusing that cup, or not seeing that blessing, or whatever. Something is wanting to be given to you, and you're just not taking it. And then Four of Pentacles is not letting anything out. They're both stuck. They're both sort of the stopped energy. And the Four of Swords and the Four of Wands is this contained fire and celebration. And the Four of Swords is this rest and recuperation, right? So it's interesting because, you know, we got celebration and we got rest. They seem very different from each other. But you have that stability, right? And the wands and the swords are the masculine. And sometimes you'll see that where the masculine cards kind of go in one direction, are more positive or more negative, and the feminine cards are the opposite. And there's other cases of this, but with the Four of Water, we don't really want water to be still. It gets stagnant. So with the Four of Water, you definitely have like this sort of blockage of energy. And with the Four of Earth, this blockage of energy. So with the feminine cards, the Four is very sort of like stubborn and blocked. Whereas with the masculine fours, it's a very necessary containment of those elements. The containment of that joy and that fire, and the containment of that air energy in healing and rest and meditation, right? So it's interesting to some of us. Five of Water. So it's kind of like she's dancing or drowning, you know? I don't know. Floating in this water. Are there moths underwater? Is that a moth? I don't know. There's this basket. There's a chessboard. There's a lot of... There's this flower pattern behind everything. What's happening in this Five of Waters? I feel like there's classical music involved. Tragic. Sad, tragic. Violin music. There's a barrel that's on top of the water. This is a table. Everything's underwater. I just realized. Her home. This is like all the feelings. It's like that meme of all the feels, you know. Everything's underwater. But this is like, turn it upside down because it's sitting on the top. This is a person who's drowning, who's just overwhelmed. They can't keep up on the everyday. It's not a moth. I don't know what it is. A book? A chair? A cushion? It's the flood. The flood came. I mean, you could take it different ways. You could take it that, she just stopped struggling and that she can float to the top. Then again, you float to the top when you're dead, too. I mean, you can take it in so many different ways, obviously. That is a butterfly. Chess. Strategy. Great take on the Five of Water. Great take. Six of Water. It's interesting because I can very easily see why someone would look at these cards and sort of dismiss them easily and just be like, this is not for me. I don't know. Too much going on and I don't know what it means. Well, whatever. Look at the Six of Water. I thought these were hearts, but they're not. They're just these shapes, but they're everywhere. Like through these lines. These, I think, are fish. Salmon, maybe? Because salmon are pink. Here's that heart again. So the six, now we're floating into something better. This feels like a city street. After the rain. Where everything's all reflected. Because I love that. And then like the city lights. I absolutely love the way that it looks, the street looks after a rain when it's wet and it's just one of those things for me. Like her back is to the negative. She's got this rock, she's got this sort of wall protecting her. And then her spine, that's really interesting too. 6 hearts, 5 upper spine and 1 over here. She's not just sailing out away from whatever was hard, like into something better. Like, I just feel like she really fought for her freedom, for her, to get away from that negative. She built this, she got this big boulder to protect her. She's got this backbone. She's got this heart. Like, she's rescuing herself, I guess. Sort of the thing. Becca Boo said she'd BRB. Just saying. Right off the bat, this made me think of Ice Age. One of the Ice Ages. 7 of Water. We got this big stone thing, and I feel like it's Hera and Zeus, but I'm not really sure. And I think it's a fountain, which makes sense because it's water. And we have all these lights around, and we're in the desert. We're in the desert. There's a fountain, so it's like an oasis, right? And we've got all these bubbles, all these sort of options or choices. And it could be a distraction, because it could be an oasis, but it could be a, Hey Google, what is an illusion that you see in the desert? I know the word now. Hey Google, what is an illusion that you see in the desert?
On the website ypte.org.uk, they say, mirages are most common in deserts. They happen when light passes through two layers of air with different temperatures.
The desert sun heats the sand, which in turn heats the air just above it. The hot air bends the light rays and reflects the sky. Alright, yeah, so this is very miragey. This is your stuff in the water. This is a distraction, an illusion that you found what what you need, but it's not real. It's a mirage. Is Ada Water the one where the boat? I was literally thinking of Six of Swords for my Six of Water. Hey Google, show me Six of Cups.
According to Wikipedia, Six of Cups is a minor arcana tarot card.
Hey Google, show me a picture of Six of Cups tarot card.
These pictures should match.
Oh, okay. Well, I got confused. Alright, so this is where we usually see, like, the old lady and the child and the flower being passed, so. Well, I had quite an in-depth reading of it as something else. And we're just going to go with, that's fine. Eight of Water. Eight of Cups. Now I'm second guessing myself a lot. Hey Google, show me Eight of Cups tarot card. What's a walking away? I know. So here we're walking away. But instead of showing us the person walking away from the viewer, and we have all they want. We have the cup or the hearts. We see that they're moving away on this that I don't really do the kayak or what. No, it's not a kayak. Whatever this thing is. Ooh, my Google is showing me the coolest picture. It's just beautiful. I love it. Okay, anyway. So, I looked at it from a distance, right? And I saw a little boy with a helmet. Then I looked at it up close, and it's actually a little girl with just her hair. And she's wearing, like, this suit. This is a darker picture. And there's sort of scales. Scales that go, like, if you can, it's hard to see, but she's got a suit that has, like, a little skirt on it, I think. Here's her suit, but the scales go all the way down. Nine of Water. I see a turtle. I see a man. I see a turtle. I see a heart. It looks kind of like there's this huge wave, like a tsunami wave or something like it. Just a big wave. But this is like sort of heart shaped, but it's like it feels like a crack in the ice or something, but probably just a crack, like an open to a different sort of dimension where we see this person. Does he have fish on his ears? I cannot tell. It just looks like he has fish or something. It's really, really hard to make that out. Excuse me. And then we have those light strings in the background again. And this makes me think of the shape of the United States. It just does. Like there's a map behind him, but it's not. And it looks like water, but it's also got these like floral designs inside of it. There's just so many details. Now we have the 10 of water, and then we have two choices here. We've got the 2 telephone booths. There's so much going on. I'm not going to be... I'm going to have to go quicker because it's this... The way that I've been looking at these has been so in-depth, it's like a reading, and it's probably just taking a lot out of me. We've got this coral, this living coral, everywhere. And this is so like sort of Atlantis. I don't know, it's very Atlantean to me. Woo! And then this one, and you know, there's the X for the 10 out there. This one, the telephone poles are, or booths are darker, closer and a deeper red, a darker red, not as light red, but also I feel like, okay, so this is different. The seahorses are inside here. We can see inside of these. And these ones, they're dark on the inside, and the seahorses are on the outside. And then inside, I see like street lights and like sort of this whole kind of other thing. A little peek that there may be a world inside there that is actually above water. But for the most part, what we see is it's dark and you don't see into the telephone booths. And then there's this fence, which also you don't have in this one at all. The ground is different. Like there's these rocks or whatever this is versus this fence. And then there's also this whole thing up here, which is different from this. And then you have a drip of water that's on the cart, that's like on the surface. These drips look like they're on the surface of the cart, of the screen or whatever it is that you're looking at. This one, of course, doesn't have anything. Oh no, it does have those, but they're just in different locations. So they're quite different, okay? Then we have the page of water. This is a crystal ball. This is crystal ball gazing. This is listening to your intuition. This is listening for messages from the water. This is my card, page of water. Then we have the Night of Water. So now we have someone on an adventure in the water, that they're seeking something. They're looking for something. And we see him again. We see him 3 times. There's this seahorse. Again, it looks like he's in the middle of a bubble or almost like a crystal ball. Maybe he's the goal of what we're looking for. But he's definitely seeking something. And he could be looking for you. I mean, look at, he's looking. So it could be like a love offering, because he does have that sort of intent, deep look. But he's a mystery, right? His whole face is covered because he's underwater, and so he's a total mystery. And maybe he wants to be your seahorse. He wants to take care of your babies, your dreams, and help nurture them, right? Maybe. Queen of Water. This one is so very cool. Just very cool. We have the crown here, and just the circular lines and the patterns, and the color. There's this sort of, what is that? Like a doorway, an archway? I don't know. It could be. Could be. We have another one that's here. Could be some geometric thing. We have a bee underwater. That's interesting. You know, and we also have sort of beehive-ish kind of hair. We've got very tall hair from our queens. Also, it's cool that our queens, I'm not sure if all of our queens, I believe all of our queens are women of color, but I'm not 100%. So I have heard a complaint, and ever since I heard it, it stuck with me, that queens, right, so we're definitely different people, because this queen looks quite Eastern and younger. But that when a black woman was included in a deck as a queen, she was always Queen of Pentacles. And so someone was like, can we have some queens that aren't Queen of Pentacles? Like, was just, and I've noticed that there's a tendency for the Queen of Pentacles to be a black woman and the other queens to not be. So I think that all the queens are women of color in this deck. I believe, although I'm not 100%. So I like that it's not, at the very least, it's not just the Queen of Pentacles. That crown reminds me of Wreck-It Ralph, like the Candy Crush guy. So the Queen of Wands also is usually about sort of intuition and psychic visions. This kind of gives a feeling of that for me. A feeling, like it's not really shown, it just gives me a feeling of it. King of Water. It's like he's holding the water out or pushing the water out at us. I'm gonna just skim through some of these. If they don't really take me, I'm sure if I looked at them longer, they would give me tons, and I just can't be here for 9 hours. Two of Air. Now this is interesting. I feel like this is definitely the same person. It's like almost like an astral projection or whatever, and you see like one of hers in dark, one of hers in light. They could be fighting each other, but I feel like it's the same person. Two separate aspects, and she's got this stance. It's a balance. Three of Air. Now again, we have the heart. We have that water heart. We have all these butterflies, and we have this stone angel here and here. But of course we have the heart because it's the Three of Wands, Three of Swords, right? So we have, this is a very traditional, we've got the three helps going into the heart. So we know that the Three of Air is a mixture of air and water. If we think about it, and I feel like the stone angels represent sadness, but also comfort, which is nice because you don't always see the element of comfort in a Three of Swords. Four of Swords, or Four of Air. So this is very like a meditation. There's a lot of elements in here of that and of a higher mind, the consciousness rising. We also have this element here. both from a design element and a subconscious element. We also have these spirals here. That's really awesome. So, I mean, we have the 4 of air. Lust as rest, and much more as meditation and lifting of the consciousness. 5 of air. She's ready to fight. So there's 4, and they're all her, and then there's her. So it's like her against, you know, again, it's giving me that dream, and she's on these steps, and then there's also this portal, and the flowers. I love that it doesn't come with a book, because you see what you see, you know, and you have to rely on yourself. But man, a book would be interesting. Six of air. Love this. It's got that not steampunk, sort of cyberpunk kind of feel to it. And it's like he's steering an invisible ship, if you look at it, right? And we got 2 and 2 and 2. So we got our 2 swords here, 2 swords here, and our 2 swords here. Seven of air. See, now we have this sense of being tied up, trapped, held on to. And this kind of gives you that feeling that it's like in her head that this is a projection of her mental state. And interesting, we have these books that are drawn. One's open. These are closed, one's open. I find that interesting too. Eight of air. This is they're very clouded, right? It's got the clouds over their faces. I'm trying to remember, because I know this 7 of swords is like that tied up one. 9 is the one in bed. Hey Google, show me the 8 of swords.
According to Wikipedia, 8 of Swords is a minor arcana
show me pictures of the 8 of swords.
These pictures should match.
Oh, this is the tied up one. Hey Google, show me pictures of the 7 of swords.
Check out these pictures.
Oh. Okay, so the 7 was the thief. People are like, she doesn't know anything about tarot, but I do, but I just don't see that here. I see what we traditionally see for the 8. And here we just see sort of this clouding of the mind, confusion, castles in the air. Confusion is nothing new. 9 of air. I think she's choosing not to look. I mean, I guess she could just be trying to be cute and cover one eye. But it's like she's choosing to only look. She's hiding. But she's still, you know, when you're afraid, you cover your eyes, but you peek out. Because you need to see, but you're afraid to look. I don't lie, but that just made me think of friendship bracelet. And then she does have a bracelet on. 10 of air. This is different too. She looks like she's resting. Like, she doesn't look like she's been stabbed in the back 10 times. She's at the door, and she's Just maybe she's on the other side. It looks like there's a bee there behind her. Here's the page. This little bit of Harry Potter-y kind of thing. To me, I think this is a girl. So I suppose, you know, the Harry Potter would indicate, like, mental powers, student, person learning how to use their mind, creative, curious. Then we have the knight. It looked like glasses, but it wasn't. This is actually another guy's tie. And when I thought it looked like glasses, it made me think of Drew Carey, right? But he's running off to, you know, be a business guy in the business world. He's got just so much going on in his head. He's got places to be. He's got things to do. Queen of Air. Also giving you the sort of ninja warrior feel. There's a lot of details in here. We got these women down here. We see her shoes. Again, look. This doesn't match this angle because it's not a picture like that. It is that multi-dimensional showing us what we need to see. At the angle, we need to see it all at once. And we got all of these butterflies. This looked like a lamp, but I don't think that's what it is. These lines, everything, every detail, these feathers, even the design details with the little bubbles, everything has a little bit more than what meets the eye at first. Her legs are crossed, but you know, I saw it looked like kind of like flamingos when I looked at just her legs. And without her body. Yeah. Here we have the King of Air. So again, we have that same knight. That same king. This king has 3 eyes. He has sort of 2 faces, but they're joined. That's all I want to say about that. So then we have the Earth. So I need to find the Ace of Earth. Oh. Also, so King of Air. And if we go back to the Ace of Air, quite different. But we do have that same butterfly. So maybe there is some type of element. Not always the same element, but maybe there's always some element that you'll see that's on the ace that's also followed on through onto the king. Who knows? Oh, excuse me. Here's our Ace of Earth with our skulls and a reminder that life is built upon death. Is that what it means? I don't know. That's what it means to me. 2 of Earth. These sort of little earth, little fairies up here tumbling around together. To me, they look like they're fighting, which isn't normally your 2 of Earth. It's just sort of this balance or whatever, but very interesting. 3 of Earth. Again, we have the skulls, and then we have this guy who's like, hey, hi, how are you? And then we have this guy who's like, looking sort of ninja-y. And clearly, these people are fairies. They're little earth fairies. Oh, there's another guy right there. There's steps. Which 3 really steps really fit well with 3 because it's the 3 being a progression, especially in earth. 3 being about building and teamwork. 4 of earth, where she is like, she is the tree. She is growing up out of the ground. And there are tons and tons and tons of other elements in this card. The sky in the background looks, it almost looks like the forest is on fire. I don't think it is, but it does have that kind of look. And we do have this sort of dust. What's that all about? Right? Why? Why is there this sort of dusty cloud over her head? But she's stuck there. She can't move. She doesn't have the ability to go to, another place. She has strength and stability, but she doesn't have mobility. 5 of earth. I love the way that his face is covered. He's hiding. Probably, maybe he feels ashamed. Maybe he's just sad and doesn't want anyone to see that. It's really beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful card. There's details that are just going to keep coming and coming and coming if you keep looking at these cards. I can't really tell if there's a bird sitting on him or if he's got wings. Very tiny wings. Well, this appears to be his wings. So this, I think, is 3 crows. 3 crows on his back. Or 1 crow. 3 aspects of the crow. This kind of makes me think of the Morrigan. But again, the earth, these are all fairies. These are all earth fairies. Here's the 6th. And someone's planting. And I believe he's meant to be under the ground. So these are your earth elementals, your gnomes. Okay, now I want to look at the whole deck again. Not the majors. Okay. I don't feel like the water... Maybe the water ones are elementals. They might be. I don't know. I feel very much like the earth is earth elementals. The air... Maybe. I don't know about the other suits. The earth beings are certainly all elementals. Here's the 7. She's clothed in leaves. There's her wings. There's her path. And the skulls along the path. Here's the 8. He's working. Again, he's an earth elemental. So earth elementals can move through earth. They can move through solid matter, especially rocks and walls and these things. don't know why the earth is elementals and the others may or may not be. And of course, this is talking about his family, his legacy. But I sort of feel like they're ghosts from another time. That these are actually, as much as this, he's talking about his, like, this is your ancestors coming to visit, leave you a message or whatever, like. But they're earth elementals, and like they look like they're mining, maybe, I don't know. They're definitely explorers, you know. Here's the page of Earth. So I love this page. It just feels like innocence. And there's your earth elemental up there. Here's your knight of earth. Super duper duper interesting. We're seeing him, again, we're seeing him in different... We're seeing him in like 5, 6, 7, 8D, 12 dimensions. Beautiful queen of earth. This made me think of a sphinx. I don't know what that is, but it looked like a sphinx. We have snakes. We have roses. And our same king again. It's so interesting to me. Why are you the king of everyone? He just looks like he knows something. He just looks like he knows something you don't know. He's got a secret. There's a meaning to this. There's a reason. Why? I will discover it someday. I feel like I could read with these incredibly, but at the same time, I also feel like I could work with them so much, like beyond reading. Again, here we have, this is the repetition. There's no hands in the, oh, there they are. There's the hands, okay. That's the repetition, though. So here it is. It's the ELEMOTIONS ORACLE. What do you think? If you're still hanging out with me, like, what do you think? Oops. Whoa, I didn't mean to do that. I love it. So much. Like, wow, so much. The backs are not reversible because, you know, see, you can tell, which is, doesn't matter to me. Like, I don't care if they're reversible or not. If I wanted to read reversals, I feel like I wouldn't really read reversals with this deck because there's so much there. Yeah, I feel like this is an upright deck. But if I wanted to read reversals, I just wouldn't, like, it doesn't matter to me if I can tell when I look down that the card's reversed. Doesn't matter. So what? I just flip it over anyway. 6 of Earth. No surprise that I ended up drawing an elemental. Earth elemental, because that seems to be... So the lawnmower outside. Earth elemental just seems to be a thing that's sort of got a message for me right now. Or, I don't know. Nobody ever joined. Or the thing for me to study or connect with. And I was gonna say, so this deck, love it so much that it made me think of the other deck that I love so much. Well done now. So I'm gonna do a combination of the two decks. And what do I get? I got the Wheel of Fortune, 6 of Earth, and the Wheel of Fortune. Wow. I'm just gonna leave that out and think about it. I feel like there's antlers here that I never noticed before. Okay, guys, have a great day. Don't have a deep meaning for this. If I would say if you have an interest, pause it and just sort of meditate on it yourself. I'll pull it back some. Well, until next time, be well.